Hey everybody. This video is going to go over the PowerPoint on Chapter 6, 4 Bases for Revising Writing in the Week 4 module. So we have now covered all 4 steps of writing. We learned that step 1 is using pre-writing to discover a point, that step 2 is using more pre-writing and outlining to develop solid support for that point. Step 3 is organizing the supporting material so that everything is connected and cohesive as we write our first draft. And then step 4 is revising and editing to make sure that we have clear, error-free sentences, right? But let's take a closer look at how to revise a paragraph, okay? So we looked at this slide once before, back in week 1, I believe. And this slide, slide 3 here, reminds us of how each step in the writing process relates to the 4 bases of writing. So your first step is to develop a point, right? And if you do that, your writing will have unity. You also need to back up that point with specific evidence and supporting details. If you do that, your writing will have support. You then need to make sure that you organize and connect all of your supporting sentences. And if you do that, your writing will have coherence. And then you also need to write clear, error-free sentences. And if you do that, your writing will demonstrate sentence skills. So the idea is that by making sure we hit each of those 4 steps, we will cover each of the 4 bases, right? But how do we make sure that we've covered each of those 4 bases? How do we make sure that we have unity, support, coherence, and sentence skills? Knowing what each step is and what each base is one thing, but making sure that we've covered each one is a totally different story. So, I mean, sure, we can say step 1 is to develop a point. That way we have unity. And we do that, and then we move on to the support, and we move on to the coherence, and we move on to the sentence skills. And hopefully, then we have a paragraph that has covered all 4 bases. We've got unity, support, coherence, and sentence skills. But that's not always the case. We're not perfect. We're all still working on those skills. So just because we hit all 4 steps does not mean that what we ended up with is what we need to turn in just yet. There's still work to be done. You still need to look back over everything to make sure that you have done each step properly so that you've covered each of the 4 bases fully. All right. So we're going to go through each step and talk about how to make sure that you've done each step the right way. All right, so step 1 is beginning with a point, right? If we do this step properly, we will cover the first base of writing, which is unity. So your first step in writing a paragraph is to decide what point you want to make and then to write that point in a single sentence. That sentence is commonly known as a topic sentence. It is the first sentence of your paragraph, and it contains the laser focus of the paragraph. All right. Everything else in the paragraph should then support that topic, and you don't want to go off topic, right? So you have finished drafting your paragraph. So you want to make sure that you have covered base 1. You want to make sure that your writing is unified. How do you do that? Well, ask yourself, is there a clear opening statement of the point of the paragraph? Do I have a strong topic sentence? Focused, super focused, not a general vague topic sentence, but a focused topic sentence. And then, is all the material that I included in the rest of the paragraph on target with that topic sentence? Or did I include some things that really don't belong in this particular paragraph? whatever you answer to that question will depend on what you do next. If you feel like you have achieved unity, you've got a focused topic sentence and everything else in the paragraph sticks to that topic, then you can move on to the next step of the revision process. However, if you're not sure if you have a good topic sentence, and if you're not sure that all of your supporting sentences are focused under that topic, then you need to do a little more work. All right. Once you're ready, you move on to the next step. And remember, step 2 is supporting your point, right? And if you do that, you cover your second base, which is support. So after you have your topic sentence figured out, then you create the supporting evidence. We need the supporting evidence so we can see and understand for ourselves as readers what your point is, and that you're making a good point and that you're supporting it well. The supporting evidence needs to be specific and it needs to be adequate. There needs to be enough of it. So how do you make sure you've done that? Look back over your paragraph and ask yourself, is there specific evidence to support my topic sentence? And is there enough of it? Did I give specific examples for each of my ideas? And do I have enough ideas to support my overall point for the paragraph? If you answer yes, move on. If you answer no, you got to do some more revising. You got to work on that a little more. Once you're ready, you move on to the next step. Step 3 was to organize and connect the evidence. If you've done a good job of that, your paragraph will have coherence. That's the third base. So in this third step, we want to make sure that all of our supporting details are organized and connected. So you want them organized, so you want to discuss all of your supporting ideas in a logical manner, whatever that might be. It might be time order, it might be emphatic order, just however it fits best for that particular topic. But beyond organizing it, you also want to make sure you have coherence. So that's where we use the transition words and other connecting words to tie all of our thoughts together so everything flows really smoothly. So to make sure you've done that, look over your paragraph and ask yourself, does the paragraph have a clear method of organization? Does it make sense why I started with this example and moved on to this example and then finished with this example? What was my reasoning for putting them in that order? And if you say to yourself, well, I didn't really have a reason, I just wrote what I thought about as it came to me, then you might want to stop and ask yourself, okay, well, these are the ideas that I want to talk about, but just because they came to me in this order doesn't mean that's the best order to present them in. So how should I organize these examples? And then make sure you have those connecting words. Are transitions and other connecting words used to tie the material together? If you can't answer yes to those questions, then you need to do a little bit more work organizing your thoughts and connecting your thoughts. And then once the coherence is taken care of, move on to step 4, which remember was clear error-free sentences. If you have achieved that, then your writing will have your sentence skills. And we learned that this is about using, making sure we cover step 4 means using parallelism, making sure we have a consistent point of view, making sure that we are using specific words instead of very vague and general words. We want to have concise wording, right? We don't want a bunch of extra fluff. We don't want useless repetition. We don't want wordy, awkward phrases. We want to be very concise and to the point. We also want to make sure that our sentences are varied, that we don't have a bunch of short, choppy sentences, that we have some longer, more complex sentences where we have combined our thoughts into one grammatically correct sentence. And then to be grammatically correct, remember we talked about making sure we don't have sentence fragments, making sure we don't have run-on sentences and comma splices, making sure we don't have cliches and clutter words, making sure we don't have misplaced and dangling modifiers, right? So if you have done all that, then you should have achieved step 4. To ask yourself whether or not you have, look at these questions. Have sentence fragments been eliminated? Have run-ons and comma splices been eliminated? Are my sentences balanced? Are they parallel? Have I used a consistent point of view? Have I used specific words? Have needless words been eliminated? And have I combined my thoughts to create varied sentences? And when I did that, was I sure that I didn't end up with run-on sentences and comma splices, right? So this is where the proofreading comes into play. You know, you did your best as you were writing the draft, but now comes the time to go back and look it over and, you know, make sure that you did achieve it. You go through the first 3 steps first, though. Make sure the point is there. Make sure the support is there. Make sure the coherence is there. Worry about step 4 last. That's why it's listed last. That's why it's the 4th step. You don't want to waste your time and energy looking for all of these smaller sentence level issues if you aren't 100% sure that the rest of the paragraph is ready to go. If you aren't sure that your point is there, that your topic sentence is strong, if you're not sure about your supporting sentences and you're not sure about coherence, don't bother looking at the grammar and mechanics yet. Make sure those first 3 bases are covered before you go and look for sentence skills. All right? Sentence, in all of these steps, it's useful to have a second pair of eyes look it over for you, but especially with the proofreading, with base 4, with the sentence skills. Have someone take a look at it, right? Take it to, you know, the like tutoring lab on campus and see if someone can help you. Or if you happen to know someone who's really good with grammar and mechanics, have them look it over for you. But do it last. It should be the last thing you do before you submit, right? So in review, you know, we've gone through all 4 steps of writing and we've seen how they relate to those 4 bases. We have looked at some checklist questions. Use those to your advantage to figure out the areas that still need work before you turn something in. But now it's time to put all of this knowledge into practice on the midterm exam. So that's the only thing you have left for this week, is to complete the midterm exam. There are more specific instructions when you actually click on that assignment. You'll see some written instructions and I believe a video where I explain some things as well. But just do your best on it and let me know if you have any questions about the 4 steps and the 4 bases and how to go about revision with your paragraphs.